Checking power steering fluid. Okay, for this fluid, as with any fluid, you should always consult the owner's guide. Never throw this owner's manual away. Matter of fact, I would be hesitant to buy a car if this isn't in the car, because it's obvious the customer or the owner of the car was unaware of the importance of this information. So we're working on power steering. You could use power steering fluid, and power steering fluid is a clear fluid. It's real clear. It has no color to it. So most stores are going to sell you power steering fluid. What they won't tell you is that you could use transmission fluid for the same thing, which is a red color. So transmission fluid and power steering fluid serve the same purpose, and that is to operate the hydraulic pump with your to give you your power steering. So you could use the power steering fluid, it's fine, but if you happen to have ATF or just transmission fluid, you could use that as well. Okay, so I'll go to the owner's manual, and the first thing I'm going to do is go to the table of content, or the index, and I'm going to look up power steering fluid in the index, and it says right here, power steering fluid checking and adding, 200 to 201. And here we go. It's that simple. Now, there's two different motor packages with my car. I could have bought it with a 3.0. I have a 3.8. A 3.0 motor is going to have the reservoir for the power steering at the front of the motor, where the 3.8 is going to be in the back corner. So I happen to have a 3.0 liter V6 power steering pump out of a car right now, right here, and this is what it looks like. So the power steering line is attached to this port right here and this port. So the fluid comes out of here high pressure and then comes back to this port on low pressure. So if you read the directions, it's real simple. It says start the engine, let it run until it reaches normal operating temperature. Check your temperature gauge, should be between hot and cold. So it wants you to verify the engine is in normal operating temperature range. While the engine is running, turn the steering wheel left and right several times, and then turn the engine off, and then check your fluid level. So this is obviously cold. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out because I have it filled properly. And this is the dipstick. And like I say, check with the other fluids, check the condition of the fluid first. It should not have black soot in it, and it should be nice and pink and have a nice little kind of musty cherry smell, and this is good. First is to check the condition. The second is to check the level. And this dipstick has a hot and cold. So here's the cold fill, and on the other side here's the hot fill. So hot fill is right here, but obviously this pump's cold because it's out of a car, and I have it filled perfectly right where the arrows are at. If I did what the owner's manual said, I would expect it to be a little higher in here, because as it gets hot, the heat expands the fluid. Okay. Now, what's interesting is your power steering pump is ran by belts. So part of your power steering inspection should be to inspect the belt that drives the pump. This is a serpentine belt, and you should always, they would go underneath this pulley and over this pulley. And what you should always want to do is feel it with your hand and try to get it where you could flex the line. So if you look at it, if it's bent like this, there's no cracks. But if you flex it, you could see that this belt was completely worn, probably squealing. So whenever you check your power steering fluid, you should check your belts as well. So here's some examples. Again, it looks like it's in good condition. Looks like it's in good condition until you bend it, and there's your cracks. And it feels real rough. You should always feel it with your finger. And if it's catching and kind of feel like it's cutting your finger, that belt's no good. There's another example right here. Always try to bend and twist your belt. You should see no cracks. This is not a serpentine belt, and you're going to find this in the second car. This is actually just a V belt, an old style belt. Again, same thing. You want to bend and twist, and there's your cracks. So without bending and twisting it, you'll never see those cracks and see if you need a belt. So let's do what the owner's manual said. I'm going to start the car. And you might want to come over here so you can see. Start the car. I want to verify my temperature gauge is in between hot and cold. It's not, so I'd want to run it for 2,000 RPM for 2 minutes, and it would get to temperature range. You want to take your steering wheel. You should always go lock to lock. It should only take like 2 fingers to turn this power, these wheels. It should not take a lot of effort. Okay, and that's verifying your pump. And then the last thing, you should always want to wiggle your steering wheel and check to see how much play is in your steering wheel. It should be about a ½ inch, and if you look down at the tire, you'll see the tire is wiggling a little bit. So I have about a ½ inch play. This is fine. Okay. Anything more than that, then you have steering issues that you need to diagnose. Okay, turn my car off. Go over here. And my power steering pump on this car, like the picture showed, is in the upper right hand corner, or left hand corner, or right hand, this relationship with the driver. It has the level, this does not have a dipstick, so I have a cold level and a hot level. So mine should be right in the middle because it's not quite hot yet. Unfortunately, as plastic deteriorates, you can't see through it. So the only way to really check the level of this is, for one, you need to check your condition. And it's a nice cherry color, has a good smell, so I'm happy with the condition of this fluid. But the only way to really check it is to visually look inside the reservoir and estimate its level, because as the plastic deteriorates, it no longer becomes see-through, and you have to just kind of estimate it. Okay, let's go to the next car. Oh wait, we got to check our power steering, our serpentine belt. Again, it should be about a ½ inch to an inch play. And I want to turn it around, and I want to twist it and bend it and look and see if I see any cracks. And in this case, I have a nice belt. We're in good condition. So, good on the belt. Okay, let's go to the next car. Again, start up the car, turn it lock to lock, do a little wiggle test to see if you have any play in your steering wheel. Let's assume we already did that. The car is hot. This is an old car. This is a 79, and it has the old style belt right here. Okay, so it's actually a little tricky to see. So I got to take this, and I'm going to bend it and twist it and actually feel it. And I don't see any cracks. It's probably too hard to see on camera. But I have 2 belts to drive the power steering pump because it takes so much effort of the motor to turn the pump that they thought it needed 2 belts to run this pump. So let's check our fluid. This is real old style with a wing nut on top. No dipstick. But this, you just take off the cap. So old school. And inside is your fluid. Again, it should be nice, clean color. No black. Actually, the black's probably from my finger from touching the belt. Nice, clean color. Nice and full. Okay, so our condition on this is good. I'm happy with the belts. I'm happy with the fluid level. Put the cap back on. No dipstick on this either. So the only dipstick we really had to show you was that first pump that we had outside the car. Let's go to the last car. This car is now the new trend. You will not find a power steering pump or hydraulic fluid anywhere, because this power steering on this car is ran by magnetics. So you have your steering wheel, and on your steering wheel is a magnetic collar, and it changes the polarity of the magnetic field to give you a power steering. No fluid, no pump, no belt, which is the reason why they went to this. It doesn't take any power away from your motor. Unlike the other 2 cars, the power steering pump brings the RPM down on the motor because it draws horsepower from the motor to activate the pump. This system, no maintenance, and you do not lose any horsepower. So you're good to go on checking this.